In this video, I'll be showing you how to prepare a client call presentation ready for when you have your client calls. Okay, so before we get into it, here it is, as you can see on the screen right now. I just wanted to claim that this is not a highly specific and targeted presentation. It's a generic one, and one that can be implemented by any business, and this example is a cleaning company, but like I said, it can be used by any business, and that's why it's quite simple in a way, but also gets into the main points of what you'll need of a business. So yes, it's definitely not specific and highly targeted to one industry or sector, because I'm trying to create a generalized presentation that can be implemented by any business. So yeah, that was just a quick heads up before we get started. So here we have the front screen, or the first slide that your client will see, and as you can see, it's a 2-weekly call, plans and strategy for social media, and in this case it's for a company called Clean Sweep Co. So this is where you'll build rapport with the client right away. This should be the first thing you do, and it'll also introduce the client into what is about to happen. When they notice you have prepared a presentation for them specifically, they'll already get a more professional feeling from you, which can be beneficial during the rapport phase of the video call. Now, you can either share your screen during the call, or if you're using certain softwares, you can host a presentation live on the internet, which can be protected by a password, which you can give to your clients. This is very similar to the way in which you video call your clients. The video call is protected by a password, or you can simply invite them to the call. This is the same as the presentation. Here is also the opportunity to build a rapport with your client and have a joke and a laugh, and like I mentioned in my previous video, this is really important, and you can hear all about the benefits of that in the previous video. But yeah, like I mentioned, this is the opportunity to do that. And this is a really good chance to build rapport, have a few jokes and laughs to make your client trust you more, but I go into more detail about that in my previous video. Okay, so moving on then. Now, once you are ready, here is where you will start a smooth transition from the jokes and laughs to the business side of things, which is of course the main reason why you're on the call with your client. You will go over all of the main points and what you'll be talking about and strategizing for briefly, as you'll go into much more detail when you get further into the call. Now, as you can see, I've laid this out. I've put how this call is going to unfold, what you'll talk about, so what's working right now. Remember, this is in terms of social media management, future goals and objectives of the business, and when we'll have our next call as well. Plus, down the bottom, I've put the main aim of this call is to come up with a strategy and plan to grow a client base and profit through the most powerful asset to any business today, which is social media. Let's head over to the bullet point, which is what is working right now. Here is the start of the business talk by addressing what is working right now. Just a heads up, I'll be talking in terms of social media management like I mentioned before, but you can apply this to any framework in any industry. You can start by mentioning what you have noticed, once again giving your client trust in you and your knowledge. Don't forget to always ask for your client's input, because they are the most important part of the call, and giving them the time to have their say or possibly change the way that they want to do things is vital. No matter what comes up in the call, you should always have your client's needs at the top of your priority list. You can take what is working right now and shape it differently to make adjustments and make it better for the future, which leads me onto the next part, which is future goals and objectives of the business. Now, this is arguably the most important part of the call, because you are talking about moving forward, plus what your client is looking to achieve with their business. This is where you ask relevant questions to the future of their company or business, while finding out what they want to set out to achieve by a certain time frame. Now, as you can see here, this is where you ask the most questions. So here I've put, what goals do you have for the future of this business in terms of both social media and profit? And I've given an example as well. So for example, you want to grow your Instagram followers by 1,000 this month, or you'd like to gain £1,500 just from social media leads in 3 months. Once you know the future goals and objectives of the business, you want to move on to coming up with a plan and strategy to achieve these goals and objectives in the most efficient way possible. This is where you'll do most of the work, so it's really important that you don't do anything to try and impress that you know you can't deliver on. For example, what you say you are going to do for them must be realistic to you. If you try to do anything that you know is not realistic, then when the time comes up and you haven't delivered on what you said, that could potentially make them annoyed or even worse, you could lose the client. So whatever you're doing, don't get too big for your boots. Have the strategy and plan ready for when you start implementing it. Moving on to when to have our next call. Here is where you'll arrange to have your next meeting with your client, suggest a date and time, as this may suit them and you can get this booked in. But if not, ask them when they're available and make sure that you stay on track and never miss a call with your client, as these are really important to ensure that you're heading in the right direction for their business. Before you let them go, you should summarise everything that you've talked about on the call, including your plan and strategy. This ensures that everything is clear on both ends and there is no confusion. It is also the opportunity for you to adjust anything because maybe your client has thought differently and would like to do something another way. Now, by summarising all of the stuff you've talked about on the call, this really increases the chance of success, as if there was confusion on one end and the message wasn't quite clear either for you or your client, that could lead to significant disadvantages. So by just clearing up everything and making sure everything is as it should be, that is a really good way to ensure there's no confusion, and also doesn't dissatisfy your client when they think, you understood something and you did something that wasn't quite as planned, or wasn't quite as, for the goals and objectives, it wasn't quite heading towards them. So it's really important to summarise everything before you finish the call with your client. Once you have done that, it's time to end the call in a nice and polite way, just by putting something on the screen such as "thank you very much, I'll look forward to our next call," and also maybe having another bit of rapport with them, a bit of banter and a few laughs here and there to end the call nicely and give your client a nice feeling at the end of the call, just so they're excited and looking forward to working with you on the goals and objectives that you've set, and just to build a good professional relationship with your client as well. This can really help to do that. So make sure you're ending the call in a nice and polite way, possibly having a bit of banter, a few laughs and a few jokes as well can also help. So there you have it, a very simple but very effective client video call presentation framework that you can implement into any business. So thank you very much for watching, and remember to take it one step at a time.